For Santa Monica City Council, I want to stand up for human rights right here in Santa Monica, and I hope you do too. That's right. We need to do better about standing up for human rights right here in Santa Monica. You know, the City Council criminalized sleeping bags and bedrolls for homeless human beings here in Santa Monica. That's their solution to ending homelessness. That's their solution to ending the housing crisis. And that's not the way to do it. That's cruel and inhumane. We need to work towards solutions and work towards human rights, equal justice, equal opportunity for everybody. We don't need to criminalize poverty. That's right. That's what they're doing right here in Santa Monica.
Are you local? Okay, where are you from? Okay, that's like, oh, right?
That's right. They're criminalizing poverty is what they're doing. They're going back to the vagrancy laws of the last century. You know, they used to put people in jail for if they didn't have a job or money. Somebody would show up in your town all over the country. There were cities that would put people in jail if they didn't have a job or money. And that's what they're doing now all around this country. And right here in Santa Monica, they're just calling them homelessness laws or anti-camping laws. I just heard about a friend of a friend's who was put in jail on the beach for having a tent. They put him in jail for 24 hours, and I don't know how that's going to help his situation because we don't have enough affordable housing right here in Santa Monica. Everybody knows that. And we don't have enough shelter beds right here in Santa Monica. There was a young man who was violently confronted with a knife. I know there was a police officer also confronted with a knife, attacked with a knife here in Santa Monica just recently, and I hope he's recovering fine. But there was also a young homeless man who was attacked with a knife by a security officer who was supposed to be helping homeless people here in Santa Monica. It's very hard for these homeless people to survive on the streets without housing, without temporary shelter, without spaces for them to pitch a tent or anything like that. But it's even harder when the city criminalizes sleeping bags and bedrolls for homeless human beings. That's not the answer. That's not working towards solutions. That's making things harder for human beings that are going through a hard time already. We need to be standing up for human rights and helping Kamala Harris build affordable housing. Kamala Harris wants to build 3 million units of housing in her first term in office. How many are we going to build, Santa Monica? Are we going to be part of the solution? Are we just going to keep working to make things harder for poor people? We have to stand up for human rights. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris. That's right, Santa Monica. We need to work towards making things easier for all human beings right here in Santa Monica. We have about 1% of our population here in Santa Monica that are homeless, that are unhoused. And we need to stand up for their rights and work towards solutions. Not like Phil Brock and Oscar De La Torre have done by criminalizing sleeping bags and bedrolls for homeless human beings here in Santa Monica. We need to work towards building affordable housing and transitional spaces for human beings until we have enough permanent housing for people. And we need to do things like raise taxes on vacant buildings here in Santa Monica. We need to raise taxes on vacant hotel rooms. We need to raise taxes on whatever we need to do to change the business model here in Santa Monica and all of the United States. Because if your business model is to have rich people doing just fine and poor people sleeping in the streets, you need to change your business model. And that's what Kamala Harris wants to do. She wants to raise taxes on the billionaires and the corporations and make it easier for poor people and working poor to be able to survive in this country. And that's what we need to keep working towards. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right. Kamala Harris wants to work for the poor and the working poor. She wants to make sure that anybody who has one job can survive in this country. I know homeless people that have 2 jobs and still can't afford a place to live, especially right here in Santa Monica. We need to make it easier for people to survive. We need to make it easier for people to live in Santa Monica that work in Santa Monica. All these people that work in Santa Monica, a large majority of those people can't afford to live in Santa Monica. And that makes for bad democracy. It makes for, it lacks integration. It makes for segregation is what it does. When you have only the rich people that own the property and homeowners, if they're the only ones who can vote in your community, then you're not having a very vibrant democracy. You need to keep working towards equal rights, equal justice, equal opportunity. And therefore, you need to make it easier for your employees of your city and your stores here on the promenade. All of these people need to have it easier for them to live in your city so they can be part of your democracy. And also, it will help with the climate crisis if people don't have to travel that far to get to their jobs. And let me remind you, we live right next to the public beaches here in Santa Monica. That's right, we have 800 miles of public beaches in California, and mostly rich white people live next to those public beaches. There's no reason for that. We can keep working to integrate our society. We can keep working for a better day for everybody, not just the rich and the powerful. We can do better by everybody. We can make sure that we keep integrating the coasts. You know, if this climate crisis continues, it's going to get hotter inland. And the only place that will have the more temperate climate will be here on the coast. So we're going to have more people living on the coast. And the air quality, they have determined that the air quality will be better on the coast, because if we have more and more wildfires and the temperatures are astronomical in the valleys and over in the desert and inland, then the air quality is going to be worse inland in the valleys and such. So we're going to have to build more affordable housing here on the coast. So we need to talk about these things. We have this Santa Monica Airport opening up in 2028 for the city. Now, nobody that is running for office besides Erica Leslie has even proposed the idea that we should build some affordable housing on that 200 acres of land that is opening up in 2028. Everybody wants to set that aside and only have a grand park, a great park. Well, if you've got 200 acres of land, you can open up some of that land for some affordable housing. What about all the people that are going to work in that great park? What about people that are going to be providing services to that great park? And all I can say is, if you don't build affordable housing at that great park where the Santa Monica Airport is, if you don't plan on building any affordable housing there, then you better hire some people to make sure that the homeless people don't sleep all over your great park, because they're going to find some area in that 200 acres of land to sleep. And what are you going to do? Just keep arresting homeless people for sleeping in your parks and beaches instead of building affordable housing? That's not the solution. That's not the way to end this housing crisis, this homelessness crisis. Don't follow people like Phil Brock and Oscar De La Torre, who would try to criminalize our way out of this housing crisis, this homelessness crisis. We have to build affordable housing. And Kamala Harris wants to build 3 million units of housing in her first term in office. What are we going to do, Santa Monica? Are we going to help her? I suggest that we do. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right, we got to keep moving forward. Keep working towards equal rights, equal justice, equal opportunity for all.
Go Trump!
Well, we don't need somebody who doesn't believe in democracy running a constitutional democratic republic. That guy can't even admit that he lost the last election. How delusional must you be to not be able to admit that you lost the last election? What kind of conspiracy would that take for us to overthrow his election without any proof of it? Not one shred of proof around the whole country. No, that man is delusional, and we don't need somebody like that running our country. We need to vote for Kamala Harris and keep working towards a better day for everybody. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right. We've done a very good job of being kind to the greedy in this country. We have to do a better job of being kind to the needy. We need to quit blaming the poor for being poor and the homeless for being homeless when it's been brought on by generations of bad governments. Here in California, we've been propping up the property values for generations here, certainly since Prop 13. We've been saying, no, you can't build any affordable housing in our neighborhood. It'll bring down our property values. So they've been pushing the poor people out further into the desert. That's what they've been doing. They said, we want to help the poor people, but we want to help them out there in the desert somewhere. That's what they keep doing to the poor people. But, we have 800 miles of public beaches, and we need to make sure that, first of all, we need to make sure that everybody can enjoy our public beaches, that you don't have to spend a week's salary. If you have a salary, you don't have to spend a week's salary just to take the kids to the beach. We need to make this promenade more accessible for human beings. Let me remind you, if you are on this public promenade, and if you are homeless on this public promenade, you have the same rights as the richest person in the whole wide world. This is not Rodeo Drive. This is not the Grove. This is not Disneyland. This is a public promenade, and I hope you all get out here and express yourselves on this public promenade. Share your thoughts and beliefs. Share your political beliefs, even if I disagree with them or anybody else does. That's a beautiful thing about this country. That's a beautiful thing about this country, the First Amendment of our Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And that's what I'm doing here today. I'm speaking out for the homeless population and all the poor people that live here in Santa Monica that are trying to stay in their apartments, stay in their housing, because we have a lot of poor people being pushed out of their housing every day all around Los Angeles County, and we need to stand up for their rights also as we look to make sure that we build more affordable housing for those that are unhoused. But that's what I'm doing here today, is speaking out using my First Amendment rights, and I am also campaigning for City Council here in Santa Monica, because we have to move in a different direction. They've been lifting up the businesses and trying to push all the poor people out for generations here in Santa Monica. You know, in 1970, the population of Santa Monica was 88 some thousand. And today, in 2024, the population of Santa Monica is just over 90,000. So in that 54 years, while the rest of California grew by over 20 million, the population of Santa Monica grew by around 2,000. That's right. Santa Monica for the last 50 years has been saying, we got ours, now stay out. You people stay out. We got our goodies right here. That's what they've been saying. And they haven't been building affordable housing. Even now, after they had their, hey, you're not supposed to do that on here. Even now, after Santa Monica had their zoning rights taken away in 2022 for 2 months, because they weren't planning to build enough affordable housing. They had their zoning rights taken away in 2022, and even now they are dragging their feet about building affordable housing. You see lots of market value housing, a lot of rich people housing going up all around, but not a lot of affordable housing. You see, for every 85 units of market value housing they put up, they only put up 15 units of affordable housing, of low income housing. And that, you're not going to get you're not going to reach your goals for building affordable housing in your housing elements if you're only building 15% to 85% wealthy housing. So, Santa Monica, you need to change the way you're doing things. We need to raise taxes on the rich, 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 raise taxes on the rich. Oh, I know it's a simple song, but it's a good one, and one that we need to teach our leaders, our public servants. Kamala Harris wants to raise taxes on billionaires and corporations, and she wants to build affordable housing in this country. She wants to end the housing crisis in her first term in office by building 3 million units of affordable housing. What are we going to do, Santa Monica? Are we going to join her? I sure hope so, because we're not going to end the housing crisis the way Phil Brock and Oscar De La Torre want to do it, by criminalizing sleeping bags and bedrolls and throwing people in jail when they pitch a tent. That's not the way to end this housing crisis. We need to set aside some property, some city property, some parks or part of the beach. You know, during the pandemic, they had FEMA trailers on parts of the beach to house people. Well, we are in a crisis right now here in Santa Monica with homelessness and all around Los Angeles County. And we need to be looking for ideas of how to house people until we have some permanent housing. And there are lots of solutions, but the solutions we don't need are moving towards criminalizing poverty. That's not the way to go. Remember this song? This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. Let's make sure this land is made for you and me. That song was written by Woody Guthrie, and he was put in jail in Oregon in the 1950s because he didn't have any money on him or a job. So they just put him in jail. That's what they used to do to people all around the United States of America. And in 1972, those vagrancy laws were found to be unconstitutional. And now today, our Supreme Court that's in there now, our ultra-conservative Supreme Court, they're trying to criminalize poverty again. Only they're trying to bring back the vagrancy laws under different names, under homelessness laws or anti-camping laws. They're trying to criminalize poverty. We need to stand up against such cruelty, such inhumanity. You know, this past summer, the ultra-conservative Supreme Court handed down a ruling called Grants Pass versus Johnson. In this ruling, that Supreme Court said, well, we don't know if we can figure out all the complexities of homelessness, so we're going to let cities and states determine whether or not they want to criminalize homelessness. And that's exactly what the cities and states have done. In her dissent of that Grants Pass versus Johnson ruling, Justice Sotomayor said, to keep people from sleeping is cruel and unusual punishment and goes against the 8th Amendment of our Constitution. So we need to, who do we want to stand with, Santa Monica? Do we want to stand with Trump's ultra-conservative Supreme Court in their Grants Pass versus Johnson ruling? Or do we want to stand with Justice Sotomayor and others who believe in human rights? And do we want to stand with Kamala Harris and build affordable housing? Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right. Let's keep moving forward. Keep making a better day for everybody in this country. We've done a very good job of being kind to the greedy in this country. We have to do a better job of being kind to the needy. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. That's right, we got to keep moving towards a better day for everybody, huh? We got to keep working towards that in this country. We can't say that since the rich people are doing fine in this country, everybody must be doing okay. No, it hasn't worked out that way. We need to keep moving to a better day. We can do it. It's been done before. Back in the last century, during the Great Depression, you know, they had things pretty rough back then. And there was a guy who came along called Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he got some things passed that helped lift people out of poverty. Instead of criminalizing poverty, Franklin Delano Roosevelt decided to try to lift people out of poverty. That's why he got things passed like Social Security. It was a safety net for human beings when they got to be a certain age, to lift them up, to help them have a safety net through the rest of their lives. He also got a thing passed called the Fair Housing Act in 1937. By 1939, they were building 500,000 units of housing all around the country. And that lifted generations of poor people out of poverty. And we need leaders like that today. And that's why Kamala Harris wants to work for the poor and the working poor and wants to build affordable housing. And we gotta keep moving forward. We don't want to go back to those days. We don't want to go back to the days of vagrancy laws and laws that made a difference between whether you were white or some other color. We need to stand up for human rights. We need to stand up for the things we've accomplished in this country, like the civil rights laws of the 60s. It doesn't matter now what your race or your religion, your ethnicity, your beliefs, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're housed or unhoused. We all have the same rights in this country. Whether you have disabilities or you are not disabled, we all have the same rights in this country. Whether you are married to a person of the same gender or not, we all have the same rights in this country, and we have to keep moving forward. We need to stand up for everybody's rights. That's right. We don't need to go backwards. These people, those people that shout out things like Trump and MAGA, they want to go backwards. They want to go backwards to a time where some people were marginalized and other people had all the rights they wanted. No, we don't need to move in that direction. We need to keep moving forward. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right, we got to keep moving forward. We don't want to be like Phil Brock and Oscar De La Torre, who are following Trump's ultra-conservative Supreme Court and criminalizing homelessness. That's the wrong direction to go. We need to keep moving forward. And let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Move forward for a better day for you and me. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. Let's do the Kamala Harris waltz. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. We are not going back. Let's stand for democracy. That's right. Keep moving forward to a better day for everybody. We shouldn't punish people for sleeping in the streets. We shouldn't criminalize homelessness. We need to keep lifting people out of poverty and helping people have better lives. That's what our whole Constitution is about. It's about making things better for everybody. The beginning of our Constitution starts off, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense, and promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States." And sure, that Constitution was written by a bunch of rich white guys But since the beginning of this country, there have been people working to make sure that it is more inclusive, that we have a democracy working towards equal rights, equal justice, equal opportunity for everybody. And our government at its best has stood up to bullies. Our government at its best has stood for those who don't have a big voice. Our government at its best has righted the wrongs of the past. Our government at its best abolished slavery, ended child labor laws, made sure that women had the right to vote, made sure that you were not discriminated because of your race or your religion, your ethnicity, your beliefs, your gender, whether you were rich or poor, or whether you are disabled or able-bodied, or whether or not you chose to marry your own gender. That's right. We all have the same rights in this country, and we need to keep standing up for those rights. And that means the rights of those people that are living in the streets, that are poor. We need to keep working towards a better day for everybody. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I life. We need to spend more money on public education here in California. You know, California, we're ranked 21st in spending on public education. That's right. In the whole country, we are ranked 21st in spending on public education. That is a shame, California. Peace. That is a shame. We are the 6th largest economy in the whole wide world, and we are ranked 26th in spending on public education. We need to change that, California. New York State spends $33,000 per student, per public school student. We spend about $18,000 per public school student. That is a shame, California. We need to spend more money on education, so we spend less money on incarceration. We need to make sure that we are giving every child a good start. And we need to spend a lot more money on those low-income area schools. You know, we need to spend more money on those low-income area schools, because we need to just keep spending more money and services on those schools until the rich people want to send their kids to those schools. Sure, here in Santa Monica, they have a pretty good school system, but there are a lot of schools all around the state and all around the country that need to lift up their education system. Hey, and one of those I don't know what happened here. Hello?